Okay. Right, I hope you can hear me. I don't know whether you can or not. Let me just mute this. This is going to be a approximately 1 hour live stream, and well, can you see where I am? Can you guess where I am? Yes, I'm in XPlane 12, and I'm just having a quick fly around here. Just taken off from Cardiff. Where's Cardiff Airport? It's over there, in that direction. We'll go back towards the airport. So it's just a first look at XPlane 12, and what I'm going to do as soon as people turn up is I'm going to go through some things. Let me mute this. I just realised you'd hear me twice if I don't mute that. So what I'm going to do is just have a look at it and go through a few things and see what we think. So first of all, good evening, welcome. Emma, I think, is here. She did try to ring me a moment ago whilst I was setting everything up. So hi Adam, how are you? If anybody's got any questions, then I'll try and answer them, but you need to know that I'm kind of into this by a day and not much more. So you know, it's all kind of new and etc. But let's have a look at some first impressions. So this evening, or this afternoon should I say, what I did was James Mann, big ratio, to be honest. I don't understand what that means, but there we go. This afternoon what I did, before I actually go back to the beginning and everything, I sorted out all of my Orbeck scenery. So this is True Earth, Great Britain, that I'm flying over. I'm in Wales, obviously, not far from Cardiff Airport. So I sorted all this out, and basically all I did was create some shortcut links, and I'll show you how I did that shortly. I created some shortcut links, yes, and just moved them from my main my XPlane 11 folder to the XPlane 12 folder. There was a little bit of jiggery pokery with the scenery ini file, and I'll talk about that shortly. Does the photo scenery work already? Yes, it does. As you can see, this is Orbeck's scenery Adam, and it does work. And at the moment we're coming up towards Wembo TV mast. You can see it there underneath the wing. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but there it is there. Okay, so yes, I believe autophoto works as well, and not only that, seasons work on top of excuse me, seasons work on top of this. So if we had snow, you'd see snow. So we're just coming over, and it's interesting, this area here, this big roundabout here, this is Culverhouse Cross. I live not very far from there, so that is really an accurate depiction. But and why shouldn't it be? Because it's also Orbeck's photo scenery, Great Britain, True Earth, South, which includes South Wales. So that's fine. That works brilliantly. I suppose, you know, people want to know about installation, etc. So the installation, absolutely flawless for XPlane 12. You just download it from xplane.com. Let's get into the aircraft and sort out this trim a little bit, I think. And the download, I can't remember how long it took. It didn't take very long at all. And as for the size, it's comparable to XPlane 11 in terms of size on the disc. Let's have a quick look. This is going to be a bit awkward because I've obviously got some links in this, but so let's see. We'll see how big it is. Emma did tell me, but I can't quite remember. So roughly 29. Oh no, here we go, we're going up a bit now. ASMR Twonk, this is not XPlane 11, this is XPlane 12, okay. yeah, there we go, 60 gigs, so 60 gig. I've got a bit of Vorbex scenery in there, not much, but that would bump it up a little bit. Okay, so what are we looking at? I think ASMR Twonk actually said something quite interesting. He said it's looking as good as ever. I suppose he's right. I mean, but what I will say is that the resolution is a lot better over the distance. You know, it does look a lot better. As we come over Cardiff here, I'm going to turn around, head back towards the airport. So it does look sharper, but that might be just a placebo effect as well. You know, changing from one picture to the other. The sea certainly does look better. Better in terms of colour, etc. Looks a lot better for sure. And something I noticed last night when I was messing around, you know, was just kind of getting things set up, was the islands of Flatholme and Steepholme properly depicted, so you can actually see them. So you know that there's been some radical changes there. I suppose the main thing is the climate and the weather. And as you know, looking at this, I don't know whether I would prefer enhanced skyscapes or the clouds, but I'll tell you now, enhanced skyscapes will not work in this at all, because the API has been changed completely. In fact, the API that was in XPlane that allowed people to create things like enhanced skyscapes is no longer there, so enhanced skyscapes will not work at all. We're just coming over Cardiff Bay here, and I've noticed already, I'm going to pause the sim, so right below here, yeah, this where my cursor is, I don't know whether you can see it, but this is a lot more defined in XPlane 12 than it is in XPlane 11. You can see these three kind of docks here with boats. That is a lot more defined than in XPlane 11. So it does look, everything looks a lot sharper. The resolution is sharper. So that is really quite pleasing. Yeah, without a doubt. Looking a lot better. And it's only coming over here that I can see that it's really pin sharp. In XPlane 11 it would look good, but not as pin sharp. So frame rates, Adam wants to know about frame rates. When I had it as vanilla last night, so just default scenery, in the Zebo I was seeing 40 frames per second. Now you may not think that's very much, but considering, let me turn this down a bit. Let's turn this down a bit. It might be a bit loud. Let's turn that down to there. Right, I hope you can hear me. Considering that my machine is quite old, it's an i7, and my graphics card is a 1080 GTX. I've got 32 gig of RAM. To get 40 frames per second, sometimes 50, in when it was vanilla, was quite staggering. I think better frame rates in XPlane 12 than I have in XPlane 11. Okay, a lot better. To be fair, I think people are being harsher on Laminar than they deserve. They're an indie dev, so I don't know why people thought they would compete visually and technically with a AAA dev. Right. ASMR Twonk. Yeah, there's a lot of negative stuff going on at the moment, and people comparing this to MSFS 2020. You shouldn't. They are completely different simulators for different reasons. Now, there's one YouTuber who is really bashing XPlane at the moment. So I'm not going to say who he is, but I'm pretty sure if you watch YouTube and flight simulating streamers, you'll know who it is, but he is really having a go at XPlane 12, and I called him out on it myself the other day. So I wrote him a personal email, and I thought that he was really being unfair. XPlane is XPlane, and you know, to compare it with anything else is just wrong. XPlane is a flight simulation based on real-world flight dynamics. It uses something called blade element theory, as we well know. Blade element theory is not used in MSFS, although some aircraft do have enhanced flying models in MSFS, but they've cheated because the developers of those aircraft created flight models specifically for them. So they have cheated a little bit. Is that the aircraft carrier down there? I believe it is. Okay, so Neil, there are a couple of tubers that have had a go at it. Yeah, third-party add-ons. Maybe we'll see, but I see where you come from. I agree. I think the real concern for Laminar will be where the third-party market begins to shift. In actual fact, because of what Laminar have done, there's really no need for third-party add-ons. So, I mean, logical Nanobots, who's done enhanced skyscapes, he's brought out something called, oh gosh, I downloaded it earlier, virtual something or other. I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to have a look. And basically, he's just altered the colours, etc. The sky colours. He's altered in a couple of other things. Not very much. So third-party devs in terms of sky, cloud, weather, that's a no-no. Third-party aircraft. Third-party aircraft is going to be much the same as it always has been. Like Tolis, for example, the A340 works, no problem. Zebo works, the AMD-11 works. Flight Factor will up-tool their stuff. In fact, all the people who actually develop for XPlane 11, they will continue developing for XPlane 12 because that's their market and they know it. They're not going to jump ship. You know, I builds did, and they did it in a very nasty way. But I don't want to get into that. My view is that the developers who develop for XPlane 11 will continue to develop for XPlane 12. So, coming back to what we see here, as I say, I managed to get my Obex photo scenery to work, no problem at all. Just needs to make sure that you get things in the right place in terms of your scenery in a file. The airport, it took me a while to get Obex airport in because I thought I had to remove global airports. You don't remove global airports anymore. You just need to put it at the bottom of the scenery in a file, and you need to make sure that your custom scenery airports are in the right position, especially above Obex. So as you can see, I tell you what they have done, and they've actually, first time, is the cliff. Hold on a moment. Yeah? Turn your telly on. Okay, I'll be back in a moment. Let me just pause this here. Right, I'll be right back. What you want? Right, sorry about that. It's always the same, isn't it? You start doing something and somebody asks you a million questions. Right, a lot more traffic in this, by the way. That was something I noticed, a heck of a lot more traffic. You know, cars and vehicles. So here we are coming into land. I think that's pretty good. Whoops. And as you can see, what I'll do, I'll taxi to the right hand side if I can. Ooh. I haven't got a profile set up for this yet properly. Right. Yeah, Niels Christensen has kind of said it right there. You know, the ones who are loyal to Laminar, they're going to stay. Yeah, the same with I&I builds. I hope they like my money as well. But there we go. So we'll just come back this way, and then we can see. You see all the traffic, all the vehicles moving there. There's way more than in XPlane 11. There was something I missed, because like in XPlane 10, you could actually say how much you wanted. And going back to frame rates, because I don't think I finished that conversation. Vanilla, I was getting, you know, really incredible frame rates, 50 plus, etc. But now, with Orbex in and a couple of other things, my frame rates have gone down, but still incredibly flyable, as I'll show you in a minute. So here we are, Orbex Airport, Cardiff, and once again, this looks a lot sharper. The only thing I'm disappointed with is the tower seems to be squashed a little bit. The tower is a little bit taller than that, but everything else looks perfect. Looks really good. So let's come out of here a minute. And for those of you who haven't seen it, right, I will start it up, and then you can see exactly what it's like. Okay. Shall we go to? I'll tell you what. We'll go to the XPlane 12 custom scenery folder. Okay, I hope you can see this. And what I'll show you here is my custom scenery folder, and so all this stuff up here, that's all the Orbex stuff, right? So from there, not Orbex, sorry, that is all that is put in by XPlane. The ones at the top, so Paderborn, Côte d'Azur, Bergamo, Cancun and Menorca, those are XPlane 12 ready. So you've got Bergamo, Cancun and Menorca, and those are XPlane 12 ready. They're produced by Winsock. Winsock Simulations. They've been produced by them, so they're XPlane 12 ready. And the rest here, these are what is in as default. So these are cities, so Berlin, Budapest, Chicago, Dubai, Las Vegas, London, etc. Those are the cities, and the airports for those are also included, okay, as default. Now all the rest of the stuff is all my Orbex stuff here. Alright, so all this Orbex, these are all shortcuts, and basically I created shortcuts from my XPlane 11 custom scenery folder. So come down here, and here's all my Orbex stuff, and I created shortcuts, a load of shortcuts from that, and put it into my XPlane 12 custom scenery folder here. And then I created shortcuts for all of my Ortho for XP that I've done, which is all of that, which generally is, I think it's Spain, Greece, Central Europe and Eastern Europe, Paris, France and around there. So that's all my auto photo for there. It's quite a lot that I've done, and I just created shortcuts from my XPlane 11 auto for XP shortcuts and just dragged those in there, dropped them in there, and they work perfectly, absolutely perfectly. There's a couple of differences with the file structure, but nothing that nothing that you don't recognize. The one thing that is different is, if I'm not mistaken, output. You actually have a screenshots folder this time, whereas previously we didn't. So in your output folder, you'd have all your screenshots down here. Now we have a screenshot folder that's in there automatically. Okay, so let's load it up. It's a different icon as well, so it's a white icon. Here we come into the into the screen here. A welcome addition is render scaling. Could be why you think it looks sharper. It's a new setting in graphics. Yeah, of course. Now that is very quick for me. We could just go resume last flight or go to a new flight. There's load saved flight school and settings. I'll be honest with you, I'm not too happy with this arrangement because it reminds me of MSFS in some ways. I like it and I don't like it. It's very clear. It's, you can understand exactly what everything does, and you'll notice this big B watermark here next to it, and that is telling you that this is beta. Even though we had an update for it this evening, there was an update pushed out. I couldn't find a change log for it, so I don't know what was done. And it was 66 megabyte download, so. But I don't know what's been done because there was no change log. So I'll tell you what, we'll have a look at settings. Okay, so settings, and it's very much the same: general, sound, graphics network, data output, joystick, keyboard, and VR hardware. One thing I have noticed is that after the update, this has become smaller. The text is smaller and clearer, so this whole screen has been changed. So you've got your different languages, obviously. Warnings, warn about missing scenery, I hate that, I'll turn that off. Giving cockpit text warnings, turn that off. And that's about it. Now you'll notice there is nothing here about OpenGL or Vulkan. Okay, there's nothing about OpenGL or Vulkan because XPlane 12 is Vulkan, plain and simple. There's no such thing as OpenGL anymore. So for those people who are saying it should be XPlane 11.8 or whatever, no, it's a complete rewrite. Code has been taken out, new code has been written. So apart from the graphical things, new code has been written, so it is a completely new version of XPlane. Here we go. Is there a change log? No, there's no change log in that, but it's XPlane 12.00B2, and that's the only thing that says Vulkan there. Your copy of XPlane is up to date. You have the latest version. Like I say, unfortunately, nothing about changelog. Airport scenery, 36,000 default airports, and you can view all scenery contributors if you wish. Okay. Emma Bentley, sorry, Wick, it is not a complete rewrite. All that has changed is reamed OpenGL code along with the most up-to-date Vulkan API. I would term that as a rewrite, Emma. You might not, I do, but certainly for me it's a new version. It's not 11.8. What's this? To be, because 11.55 had Vulkan, all they do is discontinued OpenGL. Yeah, okay, you know, that's that. My opinion is I see it as a new version. For those people who are saying it's V8.8, well, there we go. Okay, sound. So sound is exactly the same. A couple of changes. Aircraft interior, I think it's one change. Environmental user interface. I've never figured that out because I've never heard user interface, so I don't know what that's about. ATC message history, enable verbal ATC messages. Turn that off. Don't need that. You can choose your sound device here, and I don't think you could do that previously. I'd have to check. So going to the graphics, and this is where we might need some help from Emma, because some of these things are fairly obvious. Others I haven't got a clue what they mean or understand. Apart from the fact that it says it. So texture quality, that's obvious what that is. I've got mine on maximum at the moment. Ambient occlusion, that is stuff like rain effects on the ground and lighting. Rendering resolution, now this is really clever. And at first it took me a little bit to figure this out, and Emma helped me last night. Because normally when you have sliders all the way to the right, that means that it's like the highest configuration that there is. With this rendering resolution, if you have it all the way to the right, then the sim is going to display itself at the native resolution. Will render at the full native resolution. FSR will be disabled, and XPlane will render at full native resolution. It says FSR will greatly improve performance on high-resolution displays at the expense of graphics quality by rendering a lower resolution image. Now, I can understand that, so I'm still not quite sure which way it should be. So you've got like up here, quality, balanced, and performance. So I'm assuming at this end you get the best performance, and at this end, I mean, there's ultra. Explain, Emma, because I'm really not quite sure what that is saying. Although at that end, with it off, full resolution, it looks good. So no, you couldn't. I didn't think you could change sound device in XPlane 11, so that is a good change. Not quite DLS. No. Oh well. What's DLSS? I don't know the acronym. Moving on, we've got anti-aliasing, and they've changed this slightly because it's now MSAA, whereas previously it was FS, I think, FSAA. Clearly, anti-aliasing, the higher you have it, the less likelihood you're going to have jaggies, and at low level. When you're at low level on the ground, the lines on the taxiway, etc., will not be jagged. So that's what that is about. Anisotropic filtering, makes runways and flat surfaces sharper from low angles. And I mean, 4 times seems to be the sweet spot for me, and I like it. I like it there. Now, coming over to cloud quality, I've got mine on maximum, although I be quite honest, and when I changed it from maximum down to the middle or lower, I didn't really see a great deal of difference in the clouds. So I'm not sure. I probably need to look at that a bit more. World objects density, I've got mine on maximum. We know what that is. Vegetation density, I've turned it down. I did have it on maximum, but I've got it on high. And the funny thing is, I turned that off, draw parked aircraft, but it's still on. I don't know whether it comes back on by default or not. I shouldn't imagine so, but I turned it off. And then down here, I've got a 2 monitor setup, so I can have one monitor over here. I could have a full screen simulator, so I could have it stretched across both screens. Instructor operating station I could have over on my second monitor, or a 2D panel, but obviously I use my second monitor for checking YouTube and the stream and such like, or whatever I'm doing, so that's what that is. And then all the rest of the stuff down here in terms of resolution, I've got default monitor settings. It should be around there, 2560 by 1440. And for some reason it goes back. It seems to go back to default monitor settings. All the rest of the stuff is regarding field of view. I've got my field of view of 103. I think in XPlane 11 I have it at a 95. And the rest of the stuff is visual offset. So if you've got, a three screen setup and you want to get rid of the bezel and the rotational offset, that's how you would do that with that. Ooh, excuse me. Niels Christian says he thinks proprietary APIs etc. need to go. I kind of agree with him there. But anyway. So networking, I have never used any of XPlane's networking capabilities because I've always been on VATSIM. But unfortunately, XPilot doesn't work in XPlane 12 yet. I was talking to Ross Carlson earlier on today, and hopefully we'll have a pilot client very soon. When? I don't know, but soon. But at the moment, you can't get onto VATSIM with XPlane 12. This, of course, is all our data output. How many people use all of this? I have no idea. Most people just want to see what the frame rate is in the cockpit, so that's that one. Joystick, of course, took a little while to set this up. Once again, I had to ask for help, and there's nothing wrong with asking for help. But yeah, once set up, kind of sorted itself out. Although I must admit, I did something last night, and I don't know how I did it, but I got it to work, but I can't remember how I did it. Right, Cycle is going to be native multiplayer that's cross-platform with mobile, which would be really cool, honestly. I will only fly on VATSIM. I will keep away from multiplayer after seeing some of what it's like. Unless it's a private server. I've never been on the xplane.org flights. Maybe I should one day. Anyway, that was settings. So new flight, exactly the same as it was previously. Weather, very much different because you've got all these cloud layers now, all these layers up to 40,000 feet. So you've got wind and all the different layers, which is nice. You can download real weather or you can manually enter weather. Previously we used to have load weather from a file, so that you could create weather, historical weather, and keep it in the file and then load that in, but not anymore. So you've got download real weather, manually enter weather. Okay, when you manually enter weather, there are a few more things here, but also they put things together, whereas it was separated out in XPlane 11. So things like wave height, which you could never find in XPlane 11, it was hidden away somewhere else, is here. Visibility, obviously precipitation, airport temperature, altimeter setting. I've got an HPA, and it should be 1013 is default, isn't it? At the moment at Cardiff it's 1004, so we'll leave that there. Runway and water conditions dry, wave height, wind direction, variation across region, some variation, evolution over time, static, improving. I don't know what that means. Let's leave it at static. We have thermals as well down here. Climb rate under cumulus clouds. Yeah, so there we go. That is weather. So manually download real weather. I keep it on the real weather. Time of day exactly the same as it was previously. It's just that the graphic is different. Looks nicer, I think. There we go. So that's that. And did I go on resume flights? I must have done. Or maybe it was a new flight, I can't remember. And you see here on the splash screen, you've got accumulating water on the ground. And earlier on today, I opened it up and we'd had storms here in Cardiff, so really, really heavy rain, and all the stand was wet. It looked really good. It was really, really clever. Nice indeed. So I'm going to load up. Oh, excuse me. And we'll do a... Oh, here we are. It says something here. Vulkan shaders are compiled while scenery loads. So once again, Vulkan mentioned there. We're about, wasn't it? Right. So I haven't got that much scenery in, but this is still loading a lot quicker than my XPlane 11 with all my Orbex shortcuts and links, short links, virtual links. I can't remember what they call them. Anyway, so this is still loading a lot quicker than my XPlane 11, although it may seem as though it's taking a long time to you guys. Believe me, it's a lot quicker. It'll be open any second now. Going back to what some of the YouTubers have been saying about this, and people arguing, we have to remember it is a beta. That's why we've got this big B here on the screen. It is a beta, and so therefore you've got to assume that things are going to work and not work, or it's going to get better as the life of XPlane 12 goes along. It generally gets to around about 11.50. When you get to around about that, or 12.50, they'll be thinking that it's done, and then they'll start working on the next one. That's generally what happens. Right, flight configuration. Let's 738 Cardiff. We'll do a 10-mile approach, I think. So, sorry about that. So we got 4 people here. I'm not quite sure who's here because I know a couple of people left and went out. And even though this was put up on the XPlane Zebo group, nobody's come over from there. Oh no! Well, it is a beta. See the icon there? It's a new icon. It's white. Oh, excuse me. So that's what happens. It crashes because it's a beta. What I will do in a little while is I'll put some weather on so we can see the rain and accumulation on the ground as well. It's getting a bit warm. Hopefully I get that done in the next 22 minutes because I'll be going off before 9 o'clock. Okay, so new flight. Yeah. Customize 10 nautical mile approach, runway 30, confirm start flight. Okay, we'll try again. Hopefully it will not crash and it will load up on the 10-mile approach. I could have loaded a saved flight, knowing I think about it. but it'd still take the same amount of time to it would still take the same amount of time to load up. Just checking my okay, come on. In the past, if you did anything, if you messed around with anything, XPlane would go off. I would say not responding, but at least we don't have that problem. I think they've kind of rectified that a little bit. I do need to download the MD11 as well for XPlane 12. Download the latest version and get that in. Alright, come on, here we go. So, if anybody's got any questions, fire away, ask away, you know, hopefully I'll be able to answer them. I'll try anyway. The one good thing about this is it's very much like 11. Much of the systems are the same. Creating views, which I've done. I don't know whether X camera works in this. We'll have to figure that out. If it does, let's okay, let's see. Yep, apparently it does. It works in XPlane 12, so we'll sort that out. So we'll have to make sure I've got the most recent version for that. .41 is the most recent version. I will check that and put that in later. In fact, if I recall, it's just a plugin, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is. It's just a plugin. Resources, plugins. I'd be really surprised if it works. Probably will, but yeah. It's always one, isn't there? New Fortnite update is looking sick. Well, good for you. You go and play Fortnite and enjoy yourself. You knock yourself out, as they say. Right, let's just move this over here. Maybe not the cleverest thing to do. Put a plugin in whilst I'm uploading XPlane. Here we go. And now I'll have to turn this up so you can hear it, won't I? There we go. Oh, as we can see, it's raining as well. So just went to a bit of room. Yeah, which planes did you try, DB? Hi, Deacle, how are you? Nice to see you. Okay, so weather's turned a little bit nasty. This is real world weather. Oh, I'm going a bit too fast, aren't I? So we pull this up, zoom in, get rid of that. Let's pull myself back to about here. Give me a chance to slow down a bit.
Possibly.
Right. Well, I can't understand why the sound has gone so quiet now. Oh, there we go. I turned it up a little bit in my headset. Now I know why. And we'll turn it up there so you can hear it. There's that rain again. Was that a bit of lightning? Rain stopped. No, better pushback doesn't work. I have tried it. It doesn't work. It doesn't even install. A couple of the plugins you have are not capacity. XPilot, better pushback. No, they're not. So the MD11 727 732, yeah, and the 737, which is what I've got. The A340 400 works really well. I'm capturing the blind. A bit more rain. I do like the rain effect.
Airspeed low. Airspeed low.
Yeah, speed's not low.
Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low.
300, 200, 100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
I forgot to put my correct profile in. I'm not going to stop it.
Positive rate.
Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low.
400.
Airspeed low. Airspeed low.
Let's try that
Airspeed low.
again.
Airspeed low.
1,000. 1,000 to go.
Airspeed low. 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 Airspeed low.
Back landing.
Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low. Airspeed low.
We'll try again.
Airspeed low.
Right. Let's get joystick. Oh no, it's the right profile. Done. No, they're not. I did a go around, then pulled it back. Right, we'll try again. There's the deck of the aircraft carrier. Okay, coming to capture now. Nice rain effects. Looks good. My aircraft.
One thousand.
Crosswind.
500. 400. 300. 200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
80 knots.
Oh, I blew a tyre. I thought I turned that off. Damn it. Well, it's not very good, is it, blowing tyres? Well, there we go. Let's have a look on the outside. Yeah, tyres blown. Gonna have to throw me out of there. So let's get into what is it? Configure and customize realism. Tyre blow off. I was convinced I had that off. Right, well, there we go. Let's go back to main menu, new flight. Let's go to see how quickly we can get there. Oh, we got. Right. The question is, after all, you know, well, 45, 50 minutes is it good? And my opinion is it's good. There's room for improvement. One big areas of improvement was clouds, in as much as yesterday I slewed above the clouds and I was looking at the clouds and they were shimmering. The clouds were shimmering, and Emma was saying that is something they're aware of and they need to sort that out, and they will sort it out. But yeah, that was one thing, and there's a couple of other little things, but it is a beta, like I say. And tonight we had an update. I don't no idea what the update was, but we had an update, and yeah, it is what it is. It will get better as days go by. And no, they're not poor, they're just not right. Then they're not right, and it is a beta, as we know. So, and we've got to take that, take that into account. I mean, look how long it took for XPlane 11 to get good. Okay, well, as we've crashed to desktop, I'm going to close it there. And for those of you who did come, thank you. I don't know whether my first look has persuaded you in any way, one way or the other, but my personal opinion is it's going to get better. I'll tell you something, it is way better than XPlane 11 was when that came out. If you go back on my channel and you find the XPlane 11 video I did on the day of release, you'll find that this is way better, 100% better. Anyway, that's it. I've done 55 minutes. I'm going to get a glass of whiskey and watch TV. As Deacle said, it's 10 times better, and it is. And it's just going to get better each week. As updates come out, it will get better. So Deacle got it the minute it came out. Yeah, I had to wait a couple of hours. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you all soon. Take care, guys, and that is it. That's the stream over with.